Roy Jones Jr. 66-9, 47 KOs, making his way to the scale. His last fight was February 2018. Defeated Scott Simon, unanimous 10-round decision. He was the pound-for-pound king for many years. RJJ. He was the first former middleweight champion to win a heavyweight title in 106 years. Roy Jones Jr. on the scale. 210 even for Superman, 210 even. Former silver medalist at the 1988 U.S. Olympics. Roy Jones Jr., one of the greatest of all time.
Okay, so Roy obviously like he's doing this flex, man. Like a guy like the Nate and Nick Diaz flex. Like dudes that don't really have muscles, you know, that aren't bulky. Trying to fake it, you know what I mean?
And even. Former silver medalist at the 1988 U.S. Olympics. Roy Jones Jr., one of the greatest of all time.
It's weird seeing 50-year-olds in their draws, right? It's you don't want to see that. Are we supposed to judge their bodies? I get it, it's an exhibition match. You know, it's not that serious, I guess, but it's funny, like that Roy, it seems like since he started campaigning at cruiserweight, he didn't take like boxing seriously anymore, you know what I mean? He had taken his knockout losses, you know what I mean? He was fighting pretty much journeyman type fighters at the end of his career. When people talk about like he's been that active, and I mean, like he tried to jump up from the level of competition he had been facing to facing a guy that is somewhat lively still, you know. And I don't know, like Enzo Macrinelli, man, that's a guy that's past his best himself, or was past his best, and that step up for Roy was too much for him, you know what I mean? And it seemed to me, even in that fight, there was more of a conditioning issue. I don't think Roy can train like he once could, and maybe, I don't know what it is, man. Is he not taking it as seriously as he should, you know, playing with his health? Because I never thought like even in that Enzo Macrinelli fight, like there's something different to Roy's body, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe that's how it works, you know, like from 45 to 50, something happens to you or whatever, you know what I mean? 10 years ago, Roy's body was completely different. And actually, even in retirement, even for Mike, you know, the 44-year-old Mike, like, had a different body, you know what I mean? I personally think that the last season of fatness, you know what I mean, of Mike, like, destroyed his body. He always was kind of able to get back into his shape, you know what I mean? Wear a like tight shirt and look bulky and everything. Like he still kind of does, but if like he looks smaller, he looks a lot smaller, man. You know, even there in his t-shirt. I guess that's what happens, like, yeah, muscle mass and all that stuff, like going down the shitter when you're getting older. But it's weird, like Roy has man boobs, and I feel like Mike, he looks, I don't know, man, it looks like a dude that has been doing his, like, steroids his whole life, or both of them really. But I feel like this soft version of Roy still like has that athlete's contour, like the structure is there, you know what I mean? Mike, it seems like his body is kind of destroyed, you know what I mean? Like his shoulders, the neck and everything, like he's in good enough shape to like Photoshop his shit, you know what I mean? Spray in like the pec definition. I think Roy is like still retaining like the outline of actual muscle, like fucking Mike. looking kind of decrepit and also moving kind of decrepit, man. And I have like a couple of examples. Oh, Mike is just not looking right, bro.
To the scale, out of the
Let's
red
look
corner,
at this, man.
Iron Mike
I apologize
Tyson.
for the buffering and everything. Like, I need a new laptop.
What do you say? 50-6, 44 KOs, International Hall of Famer. It's been more than 15 years since Tyson last stepped in the ring in 2005 when he fought Kevin McBride. Just made his debut on the EDM scene by teaming with LA-based
He's
Mickey Lau
taking
from the
his.
track Mike Tyson.
He's trying to
He
take
does
his
it all. He's
pants
the
off,
youngest
like
heavyweight
without
champion in the
having
history
to.
of boxing. The undisputed world champion from 1987 to 1990. Let's get him up to the scale. The one, the only, Iron
Like he can't
Mike
reach that.
Tyson.
Reach down there, you know what I mean? Struggling with everything, man. I mean, he's in good shape, man. He's definitely like the chest is. Like he just looks smaller. That's what I'm saying. Like, everything is a lot smaller.
Is that correct? 220.4 for Tyson. 220.4 for Tyson.
Definitely got in good shape.
Fellas, we're going to have you get into
That's
the
actually
Triller
pretty
box.
crazy, man. That he.
Square off.
Because I'm gonna show you, man, how fat this dude was.
This is that's got to be one of the greatest.
Like I don't want to see like
face-offs
two
you'll
older
ever see
dudes
in
like
the
in
history
there.
of boxing.
And
Iron
look
Mike
at what
Tyson,
Mike does, man.
Superman Roy Jones Jr. This is the
Do you see
one
how
we've
he
all
walked
been
up
waiting.
there?
That's got to be one of the greatest
Let's look.
face-offs you'll ever see in the history
Like he's
of boxing.
dragging that leg, bro. Like Mike's
That's gotta be one
dragging
of the
that leg.
greatest face-offs
Step
you'll ever
up
see
and
in the
that last
history of
like
boxing. Iron Mike Tyson, Superman Roy Jones Jr. This is the one we've all been waiting for. One of the most anticipated
What did he try
matchups
to do?
in
Like,
the history
pull
of
his-
boxing. Too many
pull
world
his
titles.
underwear over
One of
his
the most
belly button,
Mike Tyson,
like an old fat dude.
Superman Roy Jones Jr. This is the
Look
one
at
we've
this,
all
man.
been waiting for. One of the most anticipated matchups in the history of boxing. Too many world titles to mention.
These dudes are
And they
definitely
will
not
go
on
at it tomorrow
steroids.
night, live from
No,
Los
I'm not
Angeles,
even
California.
like mad at
Tyson
them
on
necessarily, but I feel like
Triller.com.
Mike's bitten off more than he can chew. Even that turn, bro, that's like decrepit as a... Why is he... Dude, does a 180 for that shit.
Two of the greatest.
Like he's almost... It's almost like Illuminati got Mike, I feel like, bro. I think he's a walking zombie, man. You know what I mean? They got their hooks in. Jim Grace's handler. Eben. That dude, you know what I mean? Bunch of yes men. Yeah, Mike. Get back into fighting, bro. I don't know. I'm getting all depressed right now. Like, what? He got Kiki on the side, like giving him... Now, no, Mike, you gotta turn the other way for the photos. Like, Mike is a little bit too dependent also on fucking handlers. I don't like that shit. You know what I mean? Makes me think he's an Illuminati puppet. Yeah. Like, why is he turning that way? You know? And why is it like all in slow motion? He reminds me of Muhammad, like when Muhammad Ali was talking about George Foreman's style. Like, Mike is living that way, you know? Mommy lifestyle. Like, I think Roy is gonna hurt him, bro. It doesn't look, not hurt him, but like, make him look foolish more so. You know what I mean? Touch him to the body, make him quit maybe. Why does he turn? He looks like an old man. He reminds me of my dad. Like, if you call your dad and he's like tries to turn around, but it's like his eyes can't like he's already slow. You know what I mean? Slow turning, but like his eyes are following. Like, why is it? The brain is telling like every body part like on its own to. See that shit?
Two of the greatest of all time right there. Iron Mike, Superman.
Look at Mike, man. All up in his
Roy, if I
feelings.
could.
Like,
Iron Mike, Superman.
was Mike always retarded though? You know, that's what I mean. Like, does that happen to you in old age? Like, you lose your swag? Like, I don't think, like, Mike had that neck roll. Like, I think that scared us into thinking he was, like, not awkward or something. You know what I mean? Look at Roy's left arm, like, biceps. That's ridiculous. Like, all that athleticism is just in there. You know what I mean? Everything we were still wishing for is all packed in there. He retained all his gifts in that biceps. But Mike, man, Like, who are you taking your instructions from? Like, who's telling you to flex, to turn around 360, look to the left, growl? You know what I mean? I don't think like anything he's doing is like on his own will. Save Mike. You know what I mean? What's
Two of
going
the
on
greatest
here?
of all time right there. Iron Mike, Superman.
Who's talking to you, Mike? Do this.
Roy, if I could get you over here, I just want to do a quick little question for you.
And that thing that Roy, like people are talking about Roy's
One of the
knees, and he's
greatest
talking about it
fighters in the
himself,
history of
right?
boxing. He was
Like he
basically
got that little,
pound-for-pound king. That's what he was
that
known for.
smooth criminal. He got that lean forward thing going on a
All
little
right,
bit
Superman.
all the time.
There are a lot of people, actually including yourself, saying that taking this fight was a mistake. How do you plan on winning this fight, Roy?
Both these dudes, like,
Things
they're
that
all
people probably thought
torso.
was a mistake in my lifetime. I make a lot of mistakes. They say my whole boxing career was a mistake, and I love it. They say I did everything wrong, but it worked out right. So I can't tell you how to do it. It's going to probably look wrong. So I know if I try to tell it to you, it's going to sound wrong, but it's going to turn out right. Trust me.
Captain Hook, Superman Roy Jones Jr., RJJ, good luck tomorrow night, champ.
Roy always talks like he's
Takes his way
rapping.
off. We'll get Iron Mike over here and
Doesn't
ask him
need
a
to
quick
make
question.
sense, you know what I mean? Just sound good. Look at Mike. What is he doing? Who puts their clothes on with their feet
Off,
only?
we'll get Iron Mike over here and ask him a quick
What is
question.
he doing? Like tying his shoes? The fuck? Holding onto the building also. Like, someone assist this
Takes his way
man.
off. We'll get Iron Mike over here and ask him a quick question.
And I'm gonna talk about Mike's balance, bro. Like, that's what gives him most trouble right now, it seems like. You know? I can relate. But this guy, man, like, even in his prime, like, this guy wasn't then again, it wasn't also hot. Like, I don't know, man. Something about this balance, like, pushed the dude over. I believe Eddie Mustafa Muhammad talked about it. Like, he's too square on. If you push him, there's no resistance. You know, he's gonna go backwards. And he can't fight going backwards. And that's at least what they say. But Mike's balance, bro, I don't know. Like, he got, like, I've seen Mike play tennis, right? And I was thinking, like, look at those legs, man. I was thinking, like, that's the, I don't know. I was thinking, like, I was watching Serena Williams. Like, Mike Tyson has female-ish legs, you know? It's all thighs, you know, like he's the opposite of Manny Pacquiao, the stalk-like. Anyway, I mean, just like the big thighs, but then again, like fucking calves. Yeah, they have small calves, these dudes. You know what I mean? Let's look at it again from a different perspective,
This is
right?
that's got to be one of the greatest
All this criticizing
face-offs
stuff.
you'll ever
Who's
see
scared?
in the history
Is
of
anybody
boxing.
scared?
Iron Mike Tyson,
Roy's been talking
Superman
about
Roy
a lot
Jones
of
Jr. This is the one we've
stuff,
all
like
been
he
waiting for.
didn't want
One of the most
Mike to get ready and
anticipated
shit.
matchups in the history of
I don't look at
Iron Mike
the
Tyson.
way Mike steps to him.
Superman Roy Jones Jr. This is the
Is it
one we've
just
all been
age?
waiting for. One of the most anticipated
Is it just
matchups
him
in
being
the
all
history of
stiff?
boxing. Too many world titles to mention, and they will go at it tomorrow night live from Los Angeles, California. Tyson.
I think the back tells a lot about, like, Roy, I feel like is still kind of built like an athlete, man. Look at his back. Mike got the straight back, bro. And he has back issues anyway, and neck issues, I believe. Roy got them knee issues. Fuck them being scared of each other. Nobody's scared. This is an exhibition, man. I've realized this now, you know. For nostalgia reasons, man, I didn't want to believe this shit, but nobody's scared of anybody, man. Just look at Mike, the way he walked up to this dude.
And they will go at it tomorrow night.
I'm gonna show you what it
Roy
reminds me of. I'm gonna show you what it
You'll ever
reminds
see
me
in
of.
the history of boxing. Iron Mike Tyson, Superman Roy Jones.
I don't like the way Mike's moving, man. I don't like it at all. Check this out. Okay. Shit's happening, guys. Shit's definitely happening right now.
Man, So you're the best fighter in China.
Yao Yi Si.
Okay, let's deal. Seems to me that your Wing Chun fist is the fastest.
Wi-Fi backpaw.
Let's see who fists are the fastest. Yours or mine?
Sam Fan Joan.
See,
You laugh.
I feel like that's what we're looking at. You know what I mean? Mike's acting, and Mike can't act. You know, I like the scene he had in black and white with Robert Downey Jr., but like he's too real to fake it, basically. You know what I mean? He can't. That's why, like, if there was real animosity or real, like, I don't know, man, I didn't see it in that face-off. Like, Mike can't even look how that looks. You think like Mike's experience in boxing, like he'd make that look somewhat realistic, right? He's such a bad actor, bro. He can't even fake it. Like he can't really make that look too impressive. Alright, I like that. Anyway. Look at that shit. That's what I'm seeing. And he might be more agile than, you know?
Tyson and his posse. Mike Tyson has arrived! Henry.
Look the way he's walking, man. Does that look like someone agile? You know what I mean? Like someone, like he has trouble walking, this guy, bro. Like he's trying to act cool and shit. Like every time Mike tries to act, man, it doesn't work out for him. You know what I mean? Like Mike being Mike is enough. You know what I mean? Like every time he tries to act out of that comfort zone, man, it gets cringy.
Mike Tyson has arrived!
Look how look at his legs, bro. Like Mike's always had weird legs, but he crapid ass legs, bro. And now, look at this. That should be easy. Oof, wow. Someone help this man. Look at like that. He barely got that left leg. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. I don't know, man. Like,
Mike Tyson has got some heavy hitters. He's got Henry Cejudo next to him.
What's up with Mike, right? What's hurting Mike? I want to ask him. What's hurting you, bro? You know what I mean? Something's hurting him. That was also a rough one, man. You know what I mean? Alright. Down, not too much of a problem, you know what I mean? But watch going up. Going up, it's rough, bro.
Allahu Akbar.
Watch this shit. Watch this shit. Like, Mike's in trouble, people. Like, I don't want to show this whole praying session, man. Majorly disrespectful. But I just wanted to show you, like, that's what happens, like, over and over. You can watch it for yourself. Like, Mike's having a hard time, people. You know what I mean? It's not all roses. Like, check this out.
So it does feel tight there.
Yep. Yeah, I said close. That's the best I ever got. Close I ever got.
Close.
Close I ever got.
Ever?
You never touch toes?
No.
Never
All
touched
those
his
little
toes.
titles couldn't touch toes.
Nope. Never ever.
Like, I'm in horrible shape.
Never.
I can touch my
Forward all
toes.
Keep bending. And back up.
Like, that's rough.
That's pretty good. Got me touching that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can tell, like, he's in rough shape, you know what I mean? He's really happy touching his toes.
You can't touch your toes.
I see that.
Damn it.
I never thought I could.
And again.
Never thought I could.
All right, try to give
It's
it
like
that
when
one.
blind people
Wow.
see for the first time.
Got him.
or whatever,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Colorblind people see.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, he got that. He got that off.
You see?
He did that.
Little flashback here. Look at Mike, man. That's like 2 years ago, I believe. Look how big he is there. Look how big Mike's there, man. Man, he looks like a fat dude. He doesn't look like some dude that once was the heavyweight champion or whatever. You know what I mean? It looks like Lee Sayed. It's not that he's like obese in this. Yeah, he is, but he has no shape. Yeah, some pictures. Yeah, he was a big dude, bro. 54. That's pretty crazy, bro. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, you're not supposed to be like, I don't know, man. Then again, I see like some videos of like some Rastafarian dudes like doing, I don't know, man, pulling themselves up on things and shit and looking ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like almost 50, almost 60, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Exercising on metal railings, this and that. Like, I don't have the vocabulary to really express what I was watching back then. Let's look at Roy walking. Huh? Let's watch all Roy. You know? Listen to this. No one's dragging their feet. Is he wearing flip-flops? Yeah, but that all drag footy thing that he's got going on, man. I see that. Like, you know who else got that? Paulo Malignaggi, man. Some of these boxers, man, they wear their knees out. I don't know if it's even that. Maybe that's just like bad habits, you know what I mean? Walked your whole life like dragging your feet. Maybe in boxing, man. Like, remember when Roy did the Ali shuffle? Like, that shit looked weird. Like, when Roy tried to like showboat even and like dance or whatever, there's like some, I don't know if he's like necessarily a guy that, he's like a black guy that doesn't have great rhythm, I'd say. You know what I mean? Ali made that shit look smooth and pretty and all that. Roy was like more so, I don't know, man, all upper body, jumping in. Like, he had spring. I don't know if this guy had ever real footwork, bro. When people talk about this shit, man, his feet are gonna save him. Oh, the great jab. Like, Roy didn't fight like that before he was shot. Before he ever got to Ruiz. Watch this shit. Like, all on the ropes. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This shit, like, Roy always like,
done more than Glenn Kelly did in Jones's most recent fight.
Like, he's still trying counter punch back then, but there's not a lot of movement going on there, you know what I mean? Never had a really authoritative jab. Like, he's waiting for you to do shit, you know what I mean? Trying to spring in, catch you, hit you with big feints. See, that he already become this.
It's an interesting thing, as gifted as he is. Jones
Alright, that's pretty. That's some pretty shit, but like, also hands down and shit, you know what I mean? Still does that shit.
So if you force him to throw more punches, if you take him out of his rhythm, maybe it'll gain you something.
I'm not saying he was a shot fighter at that point already or whatever, but he was already more dependent on staying on the ropes and doing this stuff. And kind of taking the fight out of the fight also.
When Roy Jones is against the rope, he doesn't throw any shots at all.
Like, I never liked Roy playing the ropes, man. Because it was more so like negating and, I don't know. Yeah. The flashy shit, man. I bet Roy can still do that shit. You know what I mean? It's just more risky. See, even here, like, does he have good defense? Like, he lost the clinch, looking out of the ring, like, you know what I mean? Like, there were always, like, fundamental issues going on, but he, like, figured his own style out, you know what I mean? The whole clinching shit. Like, actually, I believe, like, when he lost his legs, he became a better inside fighter. It's a lot of flashy shit, you know what I mean? Running away while you just punch the dude, basically. Like, yeah, there's no longevity in that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying this guy was skillful, but at the same time, like, he relied way too much on that type of stuff. To become like a Roberto Duran type of fighter who can have a 30-year-long career, but successful.
And wouldn't leave it in my system very long.
Anyway, yeah, I showed you a little bit here. Probably buffering like a motherfucker. It's ridiculous. Anyway. Yeah, how about George, man? 48 years old, fighting Shannon Briggs. But he had been fighting 10 years. At that point already. Like, he was the champ, man. That's the last fight George Foreman had, 48. He could have fought later than this. Then again, man, even being big and all that, like, it didn't really matter. Like, he never, in his softness, he always, like, looked still, like, impressive and intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, his arms and shit. Like, George is a freak of nature. That's where you can tell, like, he's a freak of nature, man.
23-year difference in age. They are both 6 feet 4 inches
Mike,
tall.
Roy, like,
Foreman gives up 2 inches in reach to Briggs, although
they couldn't take the punishment and couldn't, like, dish it like him at this age. Like, ridiculous. Bernard, like, there was so much guile involved in, like, these type of fighters actually sustaining their careers long in the later stages. Like, fucking him, he was still an athlete back then. Like, pressing the fight against, like, Shan Briggs isn't like a weak puncher. And the way he always, like, took his licks, man, fucking George, like a man. You know what I mean? You never see him, like, punch after the bell. You know what I mean? Like, dudes are trying to get him out of there, hit him with combinations. He, like, drops his hands, takes them, walks back to his corner. Man, you know what I mean? All busted up, still looking for a knockout, you know what I mean? Just like confidence of a puncher. And strong. Like, I heard Shan Briggs talk about this fight, man, that he had like post-traumatic stress disorder or some type of shit, like trauma-related issues, you know what I mean? He had like battle fatigue after this fight. You know what I mean? For a while, I guess. He wasn't right for a little bit. Like, he looks a little soft and shit, but he's like just a big mountain man. He's too big. You know what I mean? And look, even the way he just walked out there. This is an athlete, bro. He takes himself serious, you know what I mean? He's not faking this.
Lennox Lewis. And Lennox, what did you think of the first round? I felt the first round went pretty good.
Big old George. Big man. See how you finished this fight, like just walking Shannon down. I'm sorry for the buffering. See, taking his licks, George. Like, I'm gonna land something bigger than this. Oh my god, this is awful right now. This is some awful shit right now. See why he's commentating actually. Yeah, anyway, man, you know what I mean? There's stamina. Like, they talked about George getting fatigued in the later rounds, like being a guy that gasses. That was when he was young, man. When he was older, man, like, he fought 12-round fights, man. No problem. Never really gassed. Had kind of, you know, be nuanced about it.
another shot at the heavyweight title.
But
He will again be trying to become the oldest
he
man
went
ever to win it,
12
as
like
he
on
was the
multiple
night he knocked
occasions,
out
never
Fury.
made a fool of himself, even losing effort. Fought Evander, for Tommy Morrison. Losses, but like, come on, bro. Fought this guy, was a loss. If you thought he got robbed, 48-year-old, but beating a 30-year-old.
My points too. I think he has.
Yeah. But he's different. So we need to understand this, you know? And I heard like people talk about Joe Joyce, by the way. Looking a little bit like George Foreman. I see that. Does he fight like him? Kind of walks you down like him. Doesn't have the power, I don't think. But I'm picking him against Dubois. Dubois struggling against Kevin Johnson. I actually like the way he got that big, like, Eastern black dude out of there. Like that contender fighter. Not contender. Boxino. I remember that dude. Like, Buddy McGirt trained him. But that guy became, like, he also fought, I forgot his name though. Fought Joseph Parker. Short notice, went the distance. Yeah, but Dubois took this dude out, man. But I believe this guy also had become like an opponent by that point. And also does really use his advantages, that guy. Played long. And he doesn't have a chin, that guy. You know what I mean? Dubois looked good against a guy that he was supposed to look good against. Against a guy that he wasn't supposed to look good against. He didn't. So what does that tell us, man? Maybe this is too early. Like, Joe Joyce looks like... I see something in Joe Joyce, by the way. Like, Joe Joyce has something, bro. I see where someone could say, like, that Bermain Van that he beat, like, he also kind of became an opponent. I think Steven's regarded an opponent after that loss to Joyce. But still, I see what Joyce does, you know what I mean? He has a style that... Like, that's a rough style. Jarrell Miller has a similar style. Wear you down to a bunch of punches. Can take a punch. It seems like, you know, who has really fought to say that though, you know what I mean? We'll see. What is this now here? Mike Tyson, huh? When he was young and shit. Let's see, can Roy Jones box him, make him frustrated? It's like if I had like a functioning laptop, man, this wouldn't be a bad video.
By the way.
Look at Mike, man.
Judge and 2 from Nevada.
It's called like being frustrated a little bit. Look at like Mike rolling his neck.
All the head shaking and the smiling from Smith, as if to say, well, they said you were a phenomenal puncher, but you haven't nailed me.
Like, just for the neck rolling. I feel that qualifies him as a psycho. Anyway, man, that's like a fight where he was... Like, he did look good, man. Like, people want to, like, blame it on fucking Bone Crusher not coming to win and over clinching and all that. But look at, like, Bone Crusher has him hesitating and all that, man. Resetting. Look at Mike. He doesn't know what to think. You know? That was later in the fight too.
When you think of Tyson's background,
I'm not sure if it wasn't this fight or whatever, but I remember like
$5 million before this fight.
Mike losing his balance, kind of getting dropped.
There's jeering coming in the last
you know what I mean?
I think they wanted to see them really have a go, and particularly
not
Smith.
getting the call. You know, the other fighter. I'm not sure if it was this fight. I thought it was this fight, but I guess not. But like, you know.
Chance for Tyson.
Mike like rolling his neck, man, like a psycho, bro.
Chance for Tyson. Tyson now.
It's almost that makes you animalistic. It looks like a fucking like you have rabies or some shit. Like you know what I mean? Like a dog that I don't know, like there's a tick going. Then again, like fighters do have ticks. Fucking Leo Santa Cruz, like he shakes his fucking glove. Curtis Stevens, he taps his back foot. Like. These are tells, like Tyson Fury, like he taps his like his head, like I believe like Evander does the same type of thing. I don't know. In UFC, people have tells like I believe. Oh, it must be that every once in a while he was like start scratching his knee. Or fucking Robert Whittaker, he'll like wipe. He'll wipe like his the top of his foot like on his other leg, on his calf, on the back of his calf, on the back of his calf. Yeah, on his calf. God. Anyway, weird tells. You know what I mean? Like fighters doing shit like for no reason, seemingly. I'm just going.
It's hard to fight a man who doesn't want to fight for the full 3 minutes of every round. So there's the countdown clock. And
See, like Bone Crusher was season.
As if he's going to say, "Well, I'm satisfied to have stayed the course with you."
Like Mike Tyson going southpaw.
So there's the countdown clock and a little bit of play acting now from Smith. As if he's going to say, "Well, I'm satisfied to have stayed the course with you."
Oh.
And that was
See, you hurt him.
a hard right.
Like he had Mike so confused that Mike stopped fighting. And then he hurt him in the last 10 seconds. Like of a fight that
As if he's going to say, "Well, I'm
he's getting
satisfied
flagged
to
for
have stayed
still,
the
I
course
believe,
with
Bone
you."
Crusher. Boom! Got him bending low. For no reason,
He's
huh?
going to say, "Well, I'm satisfied to have stayed the course with you."
Oh, there was the jab to the body and he countered it with a right hand over the top.
Smith, and he recognised it, and I think Tyson did.
Yeah, he got tagged, man.
With you.
Pew! That was a gunshot too.
As if he's going to say, "Well, I'm satisfied to have stayed the course with you." And that was a hard right hand from Smith, and he recognised it, and I think Tyson did. And this will keep going after the bell. And he saved almost in the last 10 seconds his best punch of the fight, I thought, Bone Crusher Smith.